Iran. So there's a definite connection and at least a mirroring of policy that exists with these two guys, which goes beyond your typical relationship between two foreign leaders. Which brings us to this. This is a profile on Facebook. Looks like a real profile, except for a couple of giveaways. I guess the guy's name is Adam Gold, but
Guys,
the that's
yeah,
Mark
it looks like
Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg.
And it's a very, very typical kind of profile for a period of time in Israel leading up to the recent elections and before that. They were, in fact, this profile was. I'm just trying to find the right slide because we just made a couple of changes here. This is Adam Gold is the name on the profile. Was the most popular Facebook profile in Israel, and that's because it was well curated. It had interesting articles, but it was definitely pro Bibi. In fact, the person we're about to talk to tells us that there was never really an anti-Bibi sentiment on there. Active between November 2016 to July 2018, the most popular Facebook profile we mentioned. It seems to be that he was suspiciously amplified because, it's hard to get your stuff shared on Facebook because Facebook has those weird algorithms. So I don't know how many shares you ever get on Facebook. It's less and less every
Yeah,
day.
but
But
apparently the first post that this Adam account ever put up in November 2016, within like 2 hours, had 400 shares. This guy nobody had heard of.
right, so that's not very likely. And nowadays he's on Twitter, and I went on his Twitter account the other day, and he's getting a ton of retweets there too. So hundreds to 800 retweets on every tweet. You and I know we normally get on retweets, and we do quite well. And I don't think we've ever seen the kind of numbers he's getting, which is an indication perhaps that there is a huge amount of manipulation and amplification happening on his feeds, both on Twitter and Facebook. Now, the guy we're interviewing tonight is a very special guest from Israel, Itai Leshem. He's an attorney who made it his business to bring down Adam Gold. Because you know what? As it turns out, Adam Gold is not even real. Adam Gold is a totally made up thing. He probably made up by hundreds of people, claims our next guest. And in addition to that, even though he's not real, he's been taken down 3 times. He's been reinstated 3 times, which is incredible considering he isn't even a living entity. So keep that in mind as we take you through this conversation tonight about how Itai's work to bring Adam has been so difficult and has now led to him suing Facebook in a libel suit, which he claims reinstating Adam Gold was a conspiracy benefiting Bibi Netanyahu because Bibi's the only guy that ever did well on Adam Gold's Facebook account. And he also accuses Bibi of dropping an Israeli law that was designed to regulate Facebook in what he claims was a quid pro quo for reinstating Gold. So this gets a little complex, but we'll walk through that with him in a few seconds. But the basic thing to keep in mind is that there is a sense in this from Itai that there is a conspiracy of some sort to help keep this man in power, Bibi in power, and also to keep Adam Gold in on Facebook. So Itai Leshem joins us now from Israel. It's good to meet you, and thank you for joining us. I hope we did you justice in the introduction there. I hope we got it all right. How are you doing, Itai?
I think close to perfect. Thank
Ah,
you for having me.
Oh,
there you go.
thank you.
Thank you. It's great to have you here. So you've basically changed your life in the last 18
Yeah.
months. You've taken it upon yourself to volunteer to do this job of exposing Adam Gold, which is a big undertaking. It's a big thing for anyone to walk away from their private life. I know you have a wife who's sort of looking after things. Um, why are you doing this? What are you hoping to achieve from this? What are you hoping to get out of exposing Adam Gold for being a fake account?
Well, the fact that Adam Gold is a fake account is true. Everybody agrees about it, and is no longer on Facebook. I've managed to make Facebook take him down, but the truth, which I'm trying to expose for the last 18 months, is that Facebook colluded with Netanyahu, and is still colluding with Netanyahu in order to tilt the minds and change, basically brainwash the Israeli users, mostly from the right wing of the political spectrum. And this is a big truth because this is a big a reality that no one understands, and it also has, of course, many legal aspects because I'm claiming there was an election bribe between Facebook and Bibi throughout the last 2 years, and which is still ongoing now. And basically, our AG, our Attorney General, has launched a silent investigation after I actually, you can say maybe we forced him after I appealed against him to our highest court of justice, and made him start that investigation. And when you ask, that's a big undertaking. Why am I doing it? Well, I could answer you that as a lawyer, sometimes you take cases for your client based on success, only on success fee. And then you have 30%, 40%, 50%. I'm a lawyer, and I'm also the client, and I have 100% from this case if I manage to succeed. So that's one answer. At least that's the answer I gave my wife and her mother.
Sounds like it, yes.
This is a true answer because I believe that at the end I will also get compensated from Facebook for what I've done until now for free. But the second answer is this is a very important issue for democracy, and I've happened to expose it, and I guess I was the only one there to do that, and that's why I continue doing it today.
And Itai, this all started back, I believe it was January 1st, 2018. Is that correct? When
Yes.
you first recognized the fact that Adam Gold was not a real person, that it was a fake account. You made an open post to, I guess it was the CEO or someone high level at Facebook Israel, drawing their attention to this account, saying, please check this out. This is a fake account. It ended up getting taken down, but came back up. And that I think we could talk a little bit more about that as well, how it came back up. But when it did, this Adam Gold account, they attacked you and your credibility on Facebook for blowing the whistle, I guess you could say, on the fakeness of the account. And that is the basis of your libel lawsuit. And that's kind of the can of worms that's opened all of this up to how was this account helping Bibi's campaign, and how do you sue? You can't sue Adam Gold because Adam Gold is not a real person. So you had to go and sue Facebook instead.
Exactly. It was a very poor move professionally on their side, because the minute first of all, Facebook took him down because I made a lot of commotion in Israel against him and asked them to do it. But when they reinstated him after 24 hours, which was an obvious step a step that was obviously not according to Facebook's protocols or guidelines, they did the mistake. Team Gold did the mistake of addressing me personally and claiming I was a liar and spreading false conspiracy theories. And that was the trigger for me to really get in legally into this case, because now I had my own skin involved. My name, at least that's what I claimed, my name was now being jeopardized or because of what Adam Gold and Facebook did. And obviously I sued them, and that was basically a way for me to manage, a way for me to cause Facebook to make more mistakes, legal mistakes, and the other kinds of mistakes, which I documented, and which can only raise even more the suspicions that I've had, because no a public corporation can really do the things Facebook did regarding Adam Gold and me in the last 18 months.
So just to be clear, you're saying that there is a Team Gold, that's what you've decided to call them, hundreds of people, you say, that are helping him not only amplify the content, but also create content that is particularly interest to a certain group of people, a certain part of the electorate in Israel. And that is a massive undertaking, not being done by just a single person. So even though he's claiming the Gold profile claims he's just a single person who's acting anonymously. You're saying he's not a single person, he's an entire organization.
Yeah, I don't know about the hundreds because I really have no, figure to name in that respect. But obviously, it's organization. Listen, it's like opening a broadcast channel, a new broadcast channel, because what they did is not just write content, and they managed technologically with using thousands of other fake accounts to conquer not a small part of the feed, of the Facebook feed, of hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of Israelis on Facebook.
Right.
That happened in few hours from the minute it was created, and it lasted for 20 months. So basically for 20 months, hundreds of thousands of Israelis, every time they opened their Facebook account, and only then, because left-wing Israelis on the political left side didn't even know about it. Those right-wing users had, I guess, 5%, 10% of their feed conquered by that Adam Gold team.
So they were able to game the algorithm and also do it in a stealth way. And I think that's such an important thing about social media manipulation. Sometimes people don't think it's happening because they're not the recipients of it. And then it ambushes often people who are running for power because, as we found out with Donald Trump, we don't know that it's been going on for such a long time. It surprises you on election day when all these people come out and support you in such a big way. Now, it's interesting. Adam Gold seems to have had several lives, even though, at least on Facebook, even though he is not a real person because he was reinstated a few times. Now, some of this illustrates the connection to Bibi's government. And I guess even though it wasn't a full takedown on December 31st, when he was taken down on December 31st of 2017, the justice minister, the current justice minister of Netanyahu's government, who just so happens to be the first openly gay minister in Israel's history, so this will be like having Bill Barr in our equivalent here in the United States. It would be like having Bill Barr, before he was justice minister, working his way to getting a pro-Trump Facebook profile reinstated after it was taken down. Tell us a little bit more about that experience of having Mr. Let me remember his name. He's the Justice Minister, Amir Ohana, intervene in such a way on behalf of a fake profile.
Okay, we first have to understand that fake profiles are not allowed on Facebook. You can't be a fake profile and continue being a Facebook. I mean, there are billions of fake profiles on Facebook, but the minute Facebook acknowledges that you're a fake profile, they take you down.
Right.
With Adam Gold, they knew he was fake, and they took him down and reinstated him actually 4 times.
4 times? I only counted 3.
They took him down, and that happened in a 7-month period, while I'm threatening to sue them. So you have to understand this is not just one account. This is one very popular fake account that Facebook acted against everything they claim to do or want to do on the platform. So that's actually when Amir Ohana posted that first post by him on January 1st, 2018, the first post that made me be aware of Adam Gold, I immediately knew that something is fishy there because, first of all, Facebook Israel is not allowed, according to Facebook's guidelines and their hierarchy, they're not allowed even to discuss fake accounts or to have any connection, to discuss profiles or have any connection to the service. So I didn't know how come Amir Ohana claims he contacted a manager in Israel and managed to make them reinstate Adam Gold back alive. So it was fishy. I knew something was wrong there, and that's how I started digging, and also learned that Adam Gold was not really just one fake account, very popular one, but it was actually a part of a very big manipulation, including thousands of fake accounts that were used by the same Team Gold to amplify him and bring him to be the #1 profile in Israel within 2 hours from creating him.
Tracy, we had a question as well about the Sharon character.
Yes, after I think it was the second time that that the profile was taken down by Facebook. It's my understanding that to get it put back, you need to show an ID. You need to prove that you are a human being. And Adam Gold was able to do that, but the person behind the Adam Gold count that showed their identification was somebody who lives in California, and her name was Sharon Koresh.
Exactly, and it was it was an obvious hoax that everybody knew about, because when he came back 24 hours after he was blocked, he had his name changed from Adam Gold to Sharon Koresh. But he, on that first post where he attacked me, he also claimed that Sharon Koresh has no connection to him, does not know who he is, but was willing to send her ID to Facebook only to open his account. And also Sharon Koresh stated the same thing on her Twitter account, which was
so a random woman from California who had nothing to gain and didn't know this Adam person just decided to send in her driver's license. That's what he was saying.
Yeah, Sharon Koresh could have been a 70 years old Chinese that Adam Gold managed to take his ID and send to Facebook. It doesn't matter. It was just a hoax.
In reality, she is actually a very interesting character because she's married to a guy named Chaim Vanunu, who is a CTO of a major, or not major, but a big startup in Silicon Valley that has over $1 billion or so, they claim, of revenue that goes through their company for donations, and who previously works on massive undertakings, technology undertakings, which would mean a really sophisticated and high skill set of knowledge, because some of it was like, transportation systems in Israel or transportation systems in other parts of the world. This is not just some fly-by-night kind of person who might be in the basement of a building somewhere, just trying to hack into Facebook. This is probably the result of a very sophisticated, high-tech operation in order to get all this done. And the fact that someone like Chaim Vanunu and Sharon Koresh are involved in it certainly indicates to me that there is probably a very sophisticated operation that's gaming the Facebook algorithm in order to give Bibi an edge in the elections.
Yeah, I didn't really get into my investigation. Didn't need me to dig deep into Sharon Koresh and her husband Chaim Koresh Vanunu, but I guessed to begin with that they had to have a connection to Team Gold, because otherwise, why would a woman from California with no connection to this kind of activity would volunteer to do what she did? So,
I mean, it does seem to me like, when you sent me the two logins on Twitter, because he's now there on Twitter, but he's amplified. If you ask Twitter how to change the login credentials for that account, for the real Adam Gold account, they give you the email address of Chaim and Sharon.
Yeah, that's what that's another mistake. They did mistake after mistake that we've managed to uncover this, but that was indeed the email that was used to open Adam Gold's Twitter account after he was taken off Facebook was probably used by Sharon Koresh.
So interesting. Tracy?
I have one other question. It seems that the media in Israel, they haven't covered you. They've been reluctant to get your story out. In fact, I think this is your first English-speaking interview ever. Is that correct?
You're doing very well, by the way. So.
Thank you.
Why do you think the media is reluctant to cover your story?
That's a tough one. Tracy, I'm only, what I'm going to tell you now is only based on my best beliefs and about what I've covered. I know that Israeli media is not shy about exposing allegations made against Bibi. They did it all the time. We have at least 50% of our media, which he can say, like Trump says, are trying to find everything he does and claim it's illegal. So I expected that someone would take an interest when I say, or when I claimed, and I didn't just claim it on my Facebook account. I claimed on official legal documents in an appeal to our highest to our High Court of Justice. So I expected them to take an interest, but they, at least from several weeks after I've started uncovering this story, they just ignored me completely, and it made no sense until I managed to, talk to several journalists who told me that their legal counsel told them that it was very risky to claim such things against Facebook.
I mean, it's certainly, looking at the lawsuit, you've managed to go through some interesting legal maneuvering to get it heard in front of the High Court in Israel. It is easier, I guess, for us to cover it, having not covering it in Israel. But the reality of it is, it's still a bit of a stretch for a lot of people. You're connecting a lot of dots, including this idea that maybe Bibi dropped an entire bill, an entire law, just to get Adam Gold reinstated. This was a law designed to regulate Facebook, called the Facebook law, basically, in Israel. And that you're suggesting that it was dropped specifically to get Adam Gold back on Facebook, which is, it sounds like a bit of a stretch.
First of all, I completely agree. Yeah. All you have now in front of you is a man which is a professional man in the field of investigating or doing due diligence on large corporate corporations like Facebook. I've dedicated the last 18 months of my life to find a lot of dots, as you said, a lot more dots than what I've even written on my article in English. And all those dots, I've managed to connect them in only one way. That's my theory and my allegation and what I've presented to our AG, and he began investigating it, which is a bribe deal between Facebook and Bibi. Nothing else makes any sense. And I think I have really quite good arguments for it, but I don't need to prove nothing in order to put them to jail. I mean, any man is innocent until proven otherwise, but I have more than enough evidence to start an investigation, and that's what's done actually. And that's enough, because the main thing is Facebook, I know for a fact, would not deny one claim I've made here, not even the bribe allegations claim. They would have to, when confronted with it, and I hope someone would ask them, would get an official response from Facebook. I believe that eventually they would have to, in order to protect the board of directors and the company itself, they would have to put the blame on managers in Israel that colluded with Bibi without the board's knowledge.
Right. I mean, they've had a track record, especially here in the United States, of providing incorrect information all along until they're absolutely forced to concede, as they did with Cambridge Analytica finally, that there was widespread manipulation of the population. So it's certainly one of those things where they're admitting it's happening, but they're reluctant to admit the extent that it's happening. I'm interested as well that the Israelis have been tied into Trump's own groups that have helped him manipulate social media, groups like Psy Media or Psy Group, and also that the Archimedes Group, which is a Israeli group that was manipulating elections in Africa, was recently thrown off Facebook, which to me indicates that a lot of the know-how on how to manipulate social media is living in Israel, and it would be surprising if it was being exported around the world and not being used in Israel itself on the Israeli population.
I'll tell you one funny thing about it. First of all, I have, of course, no evidence concerning any other world leader except Bibi, except Netayahu. But something funny happened when I've started addressing this issue in my tweets in English. and also targeted it with, promoted tweets to Americans. I didn't mention Trump once, not in the article, not in my allegation. All I said was Facebook was caught colluding with Netayahu to tilt Israeli elections. But I have a lot of experience with Israeli bots. But this is the first time I meet American bots, and it was amazing because what they write in return to what I've just told you, Facebook and was caught with Bibi, they told me, but what about Obama? What he did? Oh, they made the connection. I didn't make any connection. They made the connection to Trump's narrative, and I guess there's something behind it.
I guess, sorry, excuse me, I guess there is.
And one more thing I wanted to say is my work, we can't really discuss the entire scope of my work because it's 18 months, and I can write 3 books about it with everything I found out. But basically, the main thing that I have found out, and that's why I think it's going to be blown up soon, is I documented a cover-up by Facebook. And every lawyer like me who knows how public companies are supposed to run also knows how to identify a cover-up. And this is, there's no question about it. There was a cover-up, and that cover-up was part of the election bribe because the Bibi needed that cover-up in order to get re-elected 3 months ago. Otherwise, if the Israeli media, if the Israeli public would have known that he colluded with Facebook in order to lie to them, then he wouldn't get elected. So the cover-up was a major issue for Bibi, and for that he was willing to take down that bill.
Those are extraordinary claims. Itai, Leshem, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us on Narrative.
Thank you very much.
It's been really interesting, and we'll keep following your work. Please keep us updated because we really are fascinated by it, and we're really interested in what it turns out because we're also very interested in how Israeli social media manipulation firms are impacting Israeli elections around the world, I should say. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you both.
Cheers. Thanks a lot. Oh, Tracy, we'll get together ourselves here. And there you are. There you are, Tracy. Hi. So that was fascinating.
Oh, he's a fascinating guy.
Yeah, I enjoy meeting folk who do this kind of work, who will put their lives on hold in order to do something that they ultimately believe in. In his case, he might get a payout out of it, but it's impressive that he's taken an entire 18 months out of his life to fight for people's votes. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, social media manipulation is about people taking away your right to vote. If you can't think freely, if you can't associate freely because you're being bombarded by messages that are targeting you on your psychographics, on who you are and where you might go and who you might be friends with, your ability to live your life freely is no longer in your hands. And no politician should really ever have the right to do that. So that's
right. And you and I understand how important it is to get all of these messages out to voters prior to 2020. That's where we're going to keep following up on stories about social media manipulation and other ways that your vote may be affected by what you're seeing on the internet.
Yeah, it's just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. And we can see it when you donate to our little team here. Team Gold might have hundreds of people. For us, it's just a team of 2. We're thrilled to bring you our programming, all independent, original programming and investigations. We have lots of good stuff coming up, but we also really do need your help in order to keep going. So please go to patreon.com/narrative. Join us in our fight to keep truth alive and to keep our votes and democracy free. And you can do that by going to patreon.com/narrative. $3 a month is where it starts, and you can go up to any price you want because we appreciate it.
You can also do a one-time donation, I believe, if somebody wanted to do that on the site as well. So.
That's correct. And that is our show for this 4th of July long weekend that I hope all of you are enjoying. The sun is certainly blaring in here, which is probably why I'm so overblown. I hope to go and enjoy it, and I'm sure you will too, Tracy. Any big plans for the weekend?
I'm going to relax, I think. With Mini-Me being gone, I might just get a good book and read it.
I like that. Well, we'll see you again next week. Good night from us here at Narrative Live.
Good night, guys.